Good afternoon and welcome to this week's Sunday Night Live. Very exciting show today. Why? Well, because it's always exciting. But today is even more exciting because I have a special guest, another special guest, Mr. Fred Subprime Hero Lenars III. This guy knows. Now, the reason he's got the name Subprime Hero in the middle of his name is because that's what this guy knows. And, you know, right now it's a critical time. Not everybody participates in subprime. As crazy as that might sound, but it's true. And we've got a bubble. And that bubble right now is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. We've had some, 22 million people, I think, unemployed, of which only 42% got rehired. And their benefits are running out. So bad things happen to good people. And subprime is part of any successful dealer strategy on how to win good long-term customers and just blow it up. So most of you guys know this guy. One or two of you may not. So before we dive into what we're going to dive into, Fred, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you, how you got started, not quite back to birth, but how you got started, what moves you, and stuff like that.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Fred Lenars. I'm the Supprime Hero. I'm from Kentucky. Started the business here in Kentucky. Business has been something I've been super passionate about over the 18 years that I've been in it. And it's something that all stems from when I was young, I believe. You know, I was always taught to treat everybody the same. You know, it's something about that, treating people with respect. You know, my dad, military, you respect your elders, you respect other people, you respect that. So when you do things, you genuinely feel that way. You know, I always felt like it's not just a responsibility, but it's something I honestly feel. When you see somebody, you open the door for them, that type of thing. Almost Southern hospitality. So that's kind of like who I am. And when I was growing up, the way my dad raised me with a little bit of strictness, you know, military style, right? But veteran myself, joined the military, got out, and the business was something that was shined on me by somebody I knew. And I told you the story earlier. And the short version of it was somebody who amazed me about how well he was doing. And he said, you know, it's all attributed to the car business. And he told me basically the path, how to get into it. And it was very simple. It was way simpler than I thought it was going to be. So I got into a dealership. And at that moment, I was very lucky to meet somebody that trained me from day one. His name was Matt Damos, I should say. And an amazing mentor to have, somebody that had so much knowledge, and he grew in the business extremely fast. And he just understood people, and he was very similar when it came to that theory of treat everybody the same. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of credit they had. So subprime for me from day one was never treated like subprime. It was always treated like a customer. You know, what's the difference? There are people who come to your business and they walk in and they're asking for help. Hey, I need a vehicle. It's no different than somebody who has perfect credit and walks in, hey, I need a vehicle. You just have to maybe go through a couple extra steps, but those extra steps are so worth it. Those customers all need help, you know. And Paul, and I love how you talked about how the bubble just blew up. It just got way bigger, and the reasons for it. And folks, if you're out there and you're in, you know, there's a lot of us car guys who went through that same problem because we were unemployed. You may have had good credit, and you all know car guys love to buy nice things. So when you don't have that income, the same big income that was coming in, and you had to take that unemployment, you know, for some cases in people in the world, it was more money than they were making, but the average real car guy, that was a struggle, you know, and they had to sacrifice. And are they bad people? Are people who had to sacrifice during this time bad? No, absolutely not. So that type of mentality was always in my head I never was trained to treat them different. We didn't have a subprime department. Like I'll talk about that more later. We didn't have that. We just had, these are all cars. Finance manager ran everything. Sales manager worked every deal. You worked every deal. You didn't turn it over to somebody else. So that was always that way. Process that I was taught: collect stips, get them ready for welcome calls, all that type of stuff. So I came into business and I learned a great process to treat everyone the same, which to me feels like the only way to do it. Did it for a long time. Got a chance to travel all over the country and do some really amazing things at dealerships that were struggling, that were looking for that last straw of how to make my business survive and stay above water. And we would come in and just teach them our process. And, you know, a lot of times it would take 2 or 3 events for us to come in, make it right. And then they would be able to start doing it themselves. And that was huge for us to be able to, you know, sad to say, hey, no longer going to be coming in to do these events, just doing maybe advertising only. But it was a lot of fun to see that they made that growth. You know, they were able to now have a team that is coached on how to do these processes, to treat everybody like a millionaire, to have fun with people, you know. So did that for 8.5 years. It was fun. Great time. Got to meet and mingle all over the country, from, you know, California to Florida type range. You know, it was amazing. Good time. But, you know, that all ended when my son was getting older. I mentioned that earlier to you too. And I love my family. I'm a very lucky man. I have a healthy, amazing young man. He's almost 17. He'll be 17 here in less than a month. Just a great kid, very healthy, does everything I ask him to do, great grades, you know, and I think a lot of it has to do that I did come home during these last, you know, 7 years. I was here. Don't get me wrong. My wife was killing the job before. And she's an amazing person too, to be married to people. Yeah. To be married to a car guy that traveled for 8 years, to, you know, and work the hours that I work, you have to have the right support to be able to do that and do it and function, you know, but that's a whole other story. But you know, we maintain, and life's been nothing but amazing. And then this whole next venture of the Supprime Hero, all this stems from everything from that, all the stuff that I learned as a kid, as a person helping people, becoming a manager in the business, and looking at how much we affect everyone. People, like doing finance in a finance box, and the people, when you're signing them, seeing them cry, you know, it's a beautiful, traumatic. It's heart touching. I mean, grown men, like, I can't, you know, sitting there like, I can't believe this is happening, you know, and you're just like, listen, you're the one who did it. I did nothing. I just helped you. I apologize that the other 3 dealerships out there didn't have a program, or didn't have a process, or didn't even try. The only difference between us and them is that we try, and we have processes for people, that for everyone, for it doesn't matter what walk of life. You have a job and you have an ability to pay for a vehicle, and you can prove where you live. I'm going to help you, you know, and that's the idea behind it. And the Subprime Hero, the Car Guy Coffee podcast, it's just to spread all that even more, just to make the voice bigger than my one dealership. It's to share it with everyone, and hopefully everybody can drink a little bit of this little brew we got going, and we can all enjoy it and get caffeinated and just get, you know, more courageous and do the right thing for people. And like you said, there's so many more now. The people who were right there, they were good people. Even the people who were already there, they were good people. Help good people. Help everyone. Good
people. They just got hit.
You know,
it's through nobody's fault. It's through nobody's fault. Just stuff happens. And, you know, the process, whether it's subprime or not, process is process. You may, the steps that you might have a few more steps, because you might need to collect a few more steps. But it's truly an art, because, as you said, there are some dealerships that don't participate in it. They don't have the relationships with the right banks, right? That's key.
Mm-hmm. No.
You know?
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, you've done it before, you know how to collect, you know what the right steps are, and you're proactive in getting all that stuff so that your deal gets funded in time, and you have the connections at the different banks that specialize in this, right? Then you're able to put together more deals, where the other guy will just, go see Charlie over there. He'll help you, you know, the new guy, stuff them on the new guy, and they bolt off and they go grab the next stuff, thinking, okay, maybe this one's worthwhile.
Yeah, it's 100% the way that mentality is. It's sad, and you see it. I see, and this is the proof. And for me, it's how I know. It's when I pull credit, and I look at the inquiries every time, because I always want to know where they've been. I want to see what kind of lenders they've been sent to, and I see that they've been pulled by 2 or 3 different, like, dealership only. You see the dealership name.
Last week,
right? But there's no name. No deal, no bank by it. There's no, if you submit, you're going to see, you know, a handful of banks there. There's going to be there. And it's, you know, it's amazing that they don't even try. They just pull the credit. So you're not good enough. Next one. And it's like you said, they think they have enough in that bucket to not worry about this other overflow that they can have. And they don't understand how much that can increase. The increase in bottom line, folks, is unreal if you make it a priority. If you truly believe in the process, it could turn your dealership from just being a good dealership to being the best in the state. It can be the type where your salespeople are so excited because every deal gets worked. Imagine being that salesperson and you get a deal brought. You work so hard to get this person on the phone. You're begging them to come in. You're doing all this stuff. You're using the scripts your guys are telling you to do. You get them in. The appointment shows up. You you get all this information, you collect everything, you bring it to the boss. And he says, and you go, man, I've been working this for 3 days. I'm so excited. He pulls a credit, says, kick him out.
Just like that.
That's so horrible. Now, I may even think once I pull credit, it's not going to happen, right? But I don't portray that to my salesperson ever. You don't do that. And here's why, because they work so hard to do that for you. They're demotivated the moment you go, kick them out. Now you can motivate them in multitude of ways. There's so many ways to motivate your salesperson that can help motivate the customer, right? Yeah. People have grandparents. People have ways to get down payments. People have a trade-in that's sitting at the house that's free and clear. It just doesn't run, but it helps because they don't understand that if you submit it with the trade, sometimes it does make a difference.
That extra 500 sometimes is the difference between deal and no deal.
100% of the time. And I believe that. I always believe $500 can be made somewhere. We got to get $500 down, 500 from a trade. Something has to happen. Zero money down. We depends on the programs we're running, but I'm always looking. It's because that's true. Banks love to see commitment. When they see nothing and there's no commitment and there's no history and there's nothing there,
they figure why fight.
Yeah, so it's just a way of like we said, is it a couple extra steps? Yeah, but it's really 5 minutes. I mean, honestly,
there's so much more. But hold on a second. I'm falling behind on comments here, so I apologize, guys. Joe Brawler says, "Hello, Paul and Fred." Hello, Joe. Michael Landis. Hello, gentlemen. Michael, nice to see you. Lou, is that the other solutionary?
That's my brother right there. Yes.
Jeff Daniel, the rally song of Subprime came from the wide world of sports, the thrill of victory. And Ron Usher says, "Hi, guys. Ron is our esteemed master tech who always threatens that he's going to retire, but he's not going to retire anytime soon. I know that because he loves what he does too much." Justin Searle, what's up, guys? My great friend Fred in the house.
I love you, Laura. Justin. What's up, buddy?
Whoa, Laura, is this your first time on the show? This is awesome.
Oh, I love Laura. Laura and her husband, Rick, are amazing people. Oh, thank you for watching, Laura. Thanks for being here tonight.
Awesome. Lou says, "Let's brew." And Terry Caroline says, "For that subprime customer, how do you balance getting the customer the best car possible and back-end F&I products?"
Oh, simple. I don't worry about, okay, here's the deal. Don't get me wrong, profit's not a bad word. So yes, I am looking for profit when I sell vehicles. But I try to match the vehicle to the customer's budget. It's 100% of the time. Now, once I figure out what I know based off of the 18 years of experience, based off of their income, based off of what they have going out, what is a fair payment that I believe my customer can afford, because I don't want repos. Portfolios with your banks are huge within your subprime folks. I don't know if you guys know that, but you want to make sure that you're sending really good paper to these lenders, because the more good paper, the better calls they give you, the easier it is for you to fund these deals. People worry about the CIT, the time that these contracts take to fund. And it's 5 days, business days at the most. And that's to me an extreme number. Maybe a lot of mine are like 24, 48 hours, but I send clean packets and I do it right. But the thing is when you're working these deals, to answer your question, Terry, I didn't mean to get off so far, but the best way to do that is to match that to their budget. Now, I will sacrifice certain back-end products because my average vehicle has warranties already on it. I am a finance manager, so for me, I do get paid heavily on that type of product. But I also am a human being who cares about my client. So I always make sure that if it does fit in the budget, I'm going to offer the product. If it doesn't, I'm going to offer the product at a cash value, right? Because they deserve at least an opportunity to. Right. So I want them to have that. The one product that I really love to make sure my customers have, especially when they're dealing with just a $500 down payment or something like that, is gap insurance. It's huge because when you're financing tax, title, license, and profit, it's going to be, there's negative equity. We all know that. We've all owned cars. Anybody who's ever wrecked a car, if you owed money on it, you owed more than it was worth. And the way that, at least that's the way the insurance companies look at it. And so I make sure we just set, like Lou just posted down there at the bottom, set them up for success. And that's all I focus on. I focus 100% on setting up every client up for success so that 2 years down the road, they can come back and see me, buy a much nicer vehicle at a similar payment because their interest rate is going to cut in half because I made sure their payment was affordable. I set them up with a biweekly payment because it was better for them, or maybe it wasn't, it just depends on the client. But I set them up and they leave there confident. They leave there knowing that this is going to be something they can afford, that even if it wasn't the truck they came in, they're leaving in a 4-door sedan, that they understand what success they have by doing this, what they can do, what they're going to have for the future. I paint a picture to them, explain that to them, but you don't do it salesman-y. Hey guys, let me show you. This is what you do it with here from your heart. And it's because it's true. You know, I've seen it. I have clients that have come back to me a year, even 2 years, 3 years down the road. And all of a sudden they're 700 beacon scores. They've made payments on time because I set them up on automatic payments for biweekly. They're ahead 2 payments, 3 payments. Their negative equity situation is next to nil. And I am showing them a vehicle that has every feature in the world. And it's the truck of their dreams with 4-wheel drive. I want that truck. You know,
there's the beauty.
That's the famous line. Yes, sir. What's the beauty of that?
There's the beauty of subprime. Okay. So we all know there are a lot of stores that somebody could walk into. Like I said, bad things happen to good people.
Yes, they do.
There's a lot of places they walk into. They do the 5-liner. They throw them out. I mean, that's the meaning to the person. Now, you has a successful subprime department. You meaning yourself or other stores out there that do it. Now, this is an opportunity, right? This is an opportunity because a car loan is one of the strongest things that you could use to rebuild one's credit. One of the strongest things. So now you treat these people with respect. They're people like you and me. You treat them with respect. You go the extra distance for them. You get them into a car. As you said, it might not be that XLT that they wanted, but if you explain it to them, that SL will serve a purpose between now and when you can get that XLT, but you got to build up to that first. So now you've treated them with respect. You've gotten them into a car where everybody else has thrown them out, right? Maybe dinged them a little bit along the way with the credit hits, but you got it done. They're driving a car. You're following up with them. They're happy. They appreciate it. They get used to, you know what? This is not the XLT, but I kind of like this car. And in a few years, when I get that one, I'll be happy. In the meantime, they work with people. Some of them go to church with other people. They have sisters, brothers, uncles, aunts, parents, neighbors. I'm going to run out of fingers real soon. And
keep it
all
going.
These people are going to find out that Fred over here helped them get into a car. So guess what happens the next time their friend needs a car? Whose phone's going to ring, Fred?
You know whose phone's going to ring. It's going to be my phone every single time. And it's going to be, and it's a beautiful thing. One of the words I want to focus on that you just said a moment ago, you know, after everything that you've done, once you deliver a vehicle, is that follow-up. That is such key to all that. Even if you do all this for them, even if you sell the car and they're so happy and they cry and they leave, but if you don't follow up, I'm so glad you said that though, and I want to really focus on that. It's follow-up. Always follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. And you'll lose a customer quick. They'll forget your name quick.
How many customers don't know the name of their salesperson? It's criminal.
It's unbelievable. And that's the salesperson's fault 100% of the time if that's how it goes down. If you have plenty of opportunity to just give them a call. I know how much free time salespeople have during the day. You know, don't get me wrong, they hustle, that they deserve, but at the same time, there's time. You could do that call. Yeah. There's a time that you could send out that letter. There's that postcard, birthday card, even just have a Facebook page that's just for your clients.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing. Easy, free, fun.
Yeah.
Video
messages off of Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's anywhere. I'd sell it off TikTok if I can. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do every source that I possibly can because I want to reach as many people as I possibly can. But the follow-up is key. And I see Michael, he had put a little comment down there. It says, do you have a process for customers that you are not able to help? And yes, because I can help everybody. And what I mean by that is that, yes, maybe not today. Because there's going to be those people that, for one, let's say the person that doesn't want to switch to a car. They still want that truck, right? They leave. But now they go to all these dealerships that won't even show them a car. Won't even show them anything. Won't even, after they pull credit, they do the same thing, kick them out, right? Yeah. But they remember Fred. Fred gave them a path to purchase to something. They gave them a picture that he saw that maybe he didn't believe right at that moment. He just had to go find out for himself. And I'm okay with that. Sometimes you have to let the bird fly so that they come back, right? And they, sure or not, a lot of them do come back. But let's take that picture out and let's talk about the people that you can't get approved. Because, well, for one, there's lenders out there, you can get everybody approved they have a job with the right amount of money down. So you do this thing, and it's simple. You just give them a path to purchase. Hey folks, great news. I train my people to never say bad news. You always walk back with great news. Hey folks, great news. Today we can get you worked out. We're just either going to need something like, $2,500 down, or a free and clear trade worth that amount, or a qualified co-maker. Do you have either one of those two things today? Some of them will say, sometimes you'll come back and they'll have that money down. They'll have that trade, but you didn't ask because you're, too excited. New guys, they're, oh my God, they said yes, they gave me their credit information, I'm ready. So they forget to ask as one of my other partners of crime, Paul Damos, who's Matt's brother. Paul's a great closer himself and just an amazing mind when it comes to ideas. And he has this thing called the Simple Six. And those are questions that you ask people when you first meet them to be able to understand the aspect of the deal. And he breaks it down, but it's very easy. But you ask these certain questions, and once you get the questions in, you just know where you're at. So with the customers that can't purchase, you just give them that. Now, if they say, no, I don't have any money down and I don't have a cosigner, you say, that's fine. Well, how long can it take you to come up with that kind of money down? Okay. And then now at that point, if you also can coach them up on understanding, listen, you've been on your job for just 3 months. Once you've been at 6 months, you qualify for 3 other lenders. So maybe we just need to wait 3 months. You come back and see me and I can help you. Or you just find yourself a cosigner. I'm sure there's somebody, your grandmother, maybe, something like that. If not, like I said, just wait till you've been on the job for 3 more months, because stability is huge. It's so huge when it comes to subprime. If you have the ability, you just make sure you stay going to the job, do your 40 hours every week. Be consistent with that, live at the same residence for a little while. Sometimes that people don't get qualified because they just moved in a new place and they can't prove where they live yet, or whatever the situation is. So that's when you have to tell them, hey, get some proof of residence, get your bank account set up with this address, or get a water bill in your name,
utility bill,
something, right? And so you just work those things and you just teach them, because people just don't know. And if you educate and you do things, you're doing more than 90% of dealers out there right now, because they just kick people out. They'll tell them, hey, I can't help you, go get a cosigner. And that's the most common, go get a cosigner. They don't tell them why they need a cosigner. They don't tell them what they can do to improve their own situation. If you can't find one, this is how you improve your own situation. And, this is why, if you do this, I had clients who have, you have to give them that feeling. But here's the thing, all this work we're doing to get all this stuff, and it seems like a lot, but it's really not. If it's giving 5 more minutes, I keep talking about, it's just 5 minutes explaining something to somebody, how to buy a car. And then they leave there more educated. They know where they're going to go at, and they know what they need to do. So they may still go shop, but they're going to get kicked out. But the only guy they remember
is you.
But make sure you even follow up on those people. People don't do that. And I do. I tell my guys, did you follow up on that guy? We said 3 more months. See if he's been at his job for 3 more months. We might have a deal here. Those are things that you have to do yourselves too, as a salesperson, is to follow up. That's why that word's so key. Follow up. But and then there. So that, I hope that answered your question, Michael, because that's basically what you do. You always give somebody a path to purchase. Always give them a way to succeed somehow, some way. Always educate and teach and help and be a human being. That's the easiest way of putting it. Back to basics, fundamentals. Just treat people right. And so that's what I do. At least and that's what our team does. And everywhere I've ever been, and anyone I've ever touched, that's how we do it. So.
We got a couple of comments here to get caught up on. Lou says dealers have to admit that they are limited in their abilities to help. The customer will find a way. My man Stan Shear in the house. Hey, Stan. Ron Usher says 2.5 more months, Paul. I don't think so. You'll be there in 2.5 more years. You love it too much, man. What are you kidding? And let's see, we caught Lou before with the set him up for success. And Logan Whalen, Frederick Subprime Hero, Lenart's bringing that Monday morning fire on Sunday night.
That's awesome, Logan. Thank you.
Let's see. Mark says, build relationships. We are in the relationship business. Cars are just a commodity. And Jeff Daniels says, the key from service department side is to provide a safe, maintenance-free vehicle that allows them to continue with their lives. Remember that problem I was having with the computer before? When I restarted the browser, so there's an upload video clip that's just stuck on the screen here. So I have to move the text up and down to get by it. Let's see here. It doesn't have to look perfect, he says, but make it run and stop right. Absolutely. Lou's got the fire, the coffee cup, and the fire emojis. And Ron Asher says, we need Fred at every dealer. Double emoji.
Thank you so much. And that humbles me so much. And I don't think you need Fred. You just need a subprime hero in every dealership. And that's something that I plan on making happen one day. This whole platform is just the beginning. You guys, I'm going to work so hard on this. And I'm just one voice. I need people like all you guys to get on board on this. I need people to talk about this more. People need to be talking about this on every podcast. People need to be talking about it from the East Coast to the West Coast, Australia, England, wherever cars are being sold, Dubai, everywhere needs a subprime hero, because there's subprime everywhere you go. There's people who need help everywhere you go. So if we can get subprime ideas and people doing it in every store, I don't care. People are like, aren't you worried about the dealership up the street doing what you're doing? No, it's great.
Because there's enough business for everybody.
Because if we could change the whole stigma on what customers think of us, they think of us as dirtbags. You know, how many people feel that resistance a lot? You feel it like 80% of the time you talk to somebody, you know, because that 80% dealt with people from 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, it was kind of a changing thing, and it's becoming more. And with social media, I think we all starting to find empathy. We're able to reach out and see more in the world and understand different cultures, understand different people, and see what they're going through and the struggles. And man, let's be one, people. This world needs more of this. People need subprime heroes. They need people to take care of each other. But, you know, I hate even, you know, the crazy thing is I almost think subprime of a bad word, even though I use subprime hero, because I'm trying to change it.
It is what it is.
Right. I just, you know, secondary finance, you know, I hate that. I don't like that term. I really want to change that. I really want to make that different.
Subprime. It's like vendors, right? I represent products, which technically makes me a vendor. Some vendors get offended if you use the term vendor. So, well, I'm really the dealer's the partner. That's all well and good. You could call yourself Pixie Sticks if you want, but the reality is when you leave the building, the dealer says the vendor just left. So it is what it is. It's not a negative connotation. But walk us through. So now you just arrive in town.
Okay.
You show up at ABC Motors. ABC Motors has no clue what subprime is. They have no clue. So how do you start the conversation?
You know, that's a great question. I would just walk up and just obviously just be confident in myself. And that's the first thing. I'm going to be confident because I am very confident about this. For me, it's all about, like we talked about, the fundamentals, the basics. So I would approach them and I would just ask them what their fundamentals, what their current process is. What do you do with the average client that walks in these doors? Right. So that's the first thing. After I figure out what the process is, I can figure out a way to adjust it, or maybe just completely to throw it away and start a whole new one. Right. Because sometimes that's scary for people, a major adjustment. But I think small adjustments sometimes could be good. And sometimes it's all that's needed. An extra step here, an extra step there, or take out a step and throw this in here. But that's the first thing I would do. I would look into their fundamentals, to include who their lenders are, to include what kind of cars they have on the lot and where they sit, like what kind of, you know, what years they are, if they're late models, if they're older models, if they're high mileage, if they're low mileage.
There's a certain profile of car that fits the subprime market better than others.
There's a pocket, and it's a certain age range. It's crazy to say, but the newer the better. It's the banks, because you get better terms, better rates. You know, they can't go to state usury, max out to like the high rates. You're still going to get a high rate for some people, right? You're going to get the lower 20s. I don't even like giving those. You know, my average, because of my portfolios, is not that high. I have way much. I'd say my average for subprime would probably be more in the 18 range, which is really wonderful. It's wonderful. But that's relationships. You gotta.
That's definitely relationships, because most of what you see is not that.
Right. And I love it. You know, do I see that 22 sometimes? I do. And I hate when I have to, but that, you know, when I talk to the client, I always explain how they can fix that, what they need to do. You know, that's not, because once again, a lot of times it's just miseducation. You know, no one gets taught this stuff in school. Some parents don't know either. And their parents were paying cash for everything. And, you know, and if they had credit, it was the old school credit. It was so different. You know, everything was the way they even pulled your credit and how they submitted it to banks. They fax stuff over, or they would just call and just hey, they bank with you. I need a loan. Okay, here's a loan. You know, and it was so different. So today, credit is so much more important, and everything affects your credit. Everything does. Every bill in the world, and there's so many new bills today, cell phone bills, you know, you can name it, that they're like things that we did, internet bill, cable bills, there's so many Netflix bill, Hulu bills, all these bills that no one had in the past, but you don't pay those. They're put them in collections. That goes on your credit. Medical's
huge.
That's one of the biggest things you see on people's credit bureaus. That's the major issue, but I overlook all that. I look at collections a certain way. It depends on what it is, child support. I don't really dig child support collections. I hate to say it. If people are in arrears,
child support and student loans.
Yeah. I kind of get like, that's the only time I kind of lose a little bit of energy when I'm working to do, because I don't really, anyway, that's a whole other reason. But that being said, but I still want to hear the story, what's going on, that type of thing. But but it's a big deal to me. It's all that stuff is so key and so important to do that. So once you get to that and you get the right inventory in a store, and you could coach them on how to do that, what they need to purchase, within 30 days, you could be operating at a very high number. I mean, I've seen, and I've been in stores where after 30 days of being there, we've seen numbers go from 50, 60. If they were selling 50, 60 cars, I've seen it 100% increase, like over 100 cars that month. In very first 30 days. But you got to have 100 cars. You can't.
Right. You can't sell.
But if they were, it's a lot of people, they just underperform. They miss those deals. That's the increase. People don't realize that it can double your business, at least 25% your business. 25% increase. What does that do? That huge, for one.
Yeah.
Two, it motivates your salespeople more. Now they're all getting 2 to 3 extra deals every month. Which, what does that mean? They have more money in their pocket. Their families are happier. Now they don't come home to grief for working late. Now the guys are excited to stay. They'll work those holidays for you. They'll do all these things. And now when they take vacations, they're better. You know what I mean?
2 cars, right? Those 2 cars a month basically get another month's worth of pay.
Yeah.
Right. For the average guy.
100% of the time. And it could be the difference between their percentages in what their next level. A lot of dealerships tier up their, you get 25, 30 if you hit this many units. That could put them to that 15 car, get them to that 35 or whatever it is at your store. They tier down, they retro pay if you hit, there's so many different pay plans out there, which I don't have one pay plan I think is better. Now, I'm a commission guy. I'm motivated hugely by what I put in, and is what I'm gonna get back guy. So that's me, but not everybody's motivated the same way. So it's just different, but so I don't really hate, they work for everybody. They're all different, but to me, commission, but because it's,
I call it fee for service.
Right. Because here's the thing. I know if I keep doing the right thing every day and I'm super consistent and I work hard to be better, even if it's just a little bit better than I was yesterday, at the end of the month, I'm fine. It's never been a problem. I've been doing this 18 years. I've never had to worry ever. It's because I was surrounded by the right people and the right dealerships, working every deal to the fullest. Subprime, prime didn't matter,
So you go in, you look at process, you find out who has process, who doesn't, who needs to be tweaked, who needs to be thrown out, and who needs to be rebuilt.
Right.
So 100%. Now we've set that in motion. We've trained the employees on what they need to do. Now, banks. Are there a set number of banks you like to work with? Is it primarily national? Is it regional? Does it depend on market?
The more the merrier. And what I mean by that is you're going to eventually, when you first start, you want to get them all. You want to figure out, because you don't know. You got to figure out your market. If you've never done it before, you got to, because it's going to take about, really in 30 days, you can make some drastic changes. 90 days, you're going to make lasting changes. And so you're going to, within 90 days, once you get that all going, you start working on, you're getting your banks going, you're starting to develop, you're going to find out which ones you're going to be able to put more paper towards, which ones have better funding departments. Because some places, you may even want to send them a deal, but they don't have that relationship feel. They just treat your deal like it's just a black and white piece of paper, right? And
fees,
right, all that type of stuff. And I'm picky. Because I think that if they want my business, they should earn my business too. Because I send good paper. I don't power book cars. I don't add income to people's income. I don't do any of that stuff. So when I send paper to a bank, I feel so confident, and I know it's clean paper. I know that this income and these pay stubs are everything that they were supposed to have. And so, so I find which banks really work well, which ones don't. And then I'm going to put my relationships into those, and I'm going to work really hard on figure out how to be better at those banks and how to, encourage them. But I've come to find that, like all the dealers out there, if you don't have subprime banks out there, they're eager to come into your store. they really want to be part of your store because they're all growing too. Because because of right now it's a huge growing market. It's too many dealerships underutilize it, so they're even if they have them, they don't use them. So they're excited to be somewhere that's excited and to have a process for that. So they'll come in there and they'll even come in and work deals with you. You'll find some good relationship managers out there that are just awesome. You'll find the ones that never show up.
Right.
But I have great relationships with banks with their relationship managers never comes to my store, but the bank's so good, I don't care.
Right. As long as you get it done.
Yeah, they rock. They fund my deals. They're wonderful. They give great interest rates to my clients. They're amazing. But that's what you have to do. So once you get there to set number, I guess that comes down to how many cars that you're selling and your goals are. So it would come. So if they're a 50 car store and I'm getting them to 100 very quick, at that point I think you need about 10 subprime lenders. Probably one for every 10 deals you do. You want to basically be at 10 deals per subprime lender. Some of them are going to get 20, some are going to get 3 or 4. But you're gonna you want to try to get on about that average. And then if you're going to sell more, you don't really need more lenders than that. Really, you might want a couple extra. But a lot of the local regional, there is regional banks that do subprime. There's some credit unions that will do first-time buyers. So you do want to make sure you understand, even if you can't sign them up on a dealer track or a Route 1, you still want to understand your local bank's programs because you don't want to miss a deal once again because your salesperson works so dang hard to get them in there. Even if it was a lot up, they worked dang hard to get that guy from just looking to, hey, I'll come inside and talk to you, right? So you want to make sure that as the desk guy, as the sales manager, as the finance manager that, hey, yeah, this will work, but we need to send him to this other lender, even though it's not ours, it's still a car deal. We still need to help these people. So you want to have those relationships built with that. You want to understand those programs, but that's another thing. You want to understand the programs, but they're really, I don't know. It's pretty simple to me. I don't know. I feel like they're all pretty generic, about the same.
Yeah, no, because once you've done it for a while and you've developed those relationships with the banks and you send your 10 deals here, 10 deals there, you know who's going to buy what paper and you know who's going to help you in a pinch on this particular type of deal.
No doubt.
And another, because they're not all created the same.
100%. And I could tell you there's lenders out there that will, if you do, like, say you average 15 a month with them, they'll give you better calls than even if this guy up the street has the same bank. You could beat them. You could literally beat them out because you're going to get 2% less rate. You're going to have more back end product that you could put on there. They'll give you a higher number. They'll, like, instead of giving you just $2,000 for a warranty, they'll give you $3,000 because you're a diamond dealer or you're a prime dealer with them and your paper is good. That stuff changes everything, but it takes work, so, but 90 days is what most banks, they see 90-day averages. So after 90 days, you can, like I said, it becomes concrete. You do all that work, you stay motivated, you keep processing it. And after 90 days, those 10 banks are going to love you because you're sending them good paper. And now you're averaging this much. Now they're going to start giving you these huge incentives. And then it just explodes. Then it just becomes, how far can we go? And then that's really what it is. It takes 90 days for your whole mindset to go, this is impossible, to, whoa, how far can we go? So
mindset.
It really is.
Let's get caught up on a couple comments here.
All right.
Let's see here. Lou says, solutionaries rise. And Danny Lenartz, I'm guessing this guy's related to you.
That's my uncle. He's one of the best salesmen I know in the world. Yeah, that guy's amazing. He's one of the funniest guys you could ever meet. What's up, Uncle Dan? What's up?
Because people buy from people they trust. The warm-up is the most important aspect of any sale. And my man, Michael Larkin, in the house.
Yes. What's up, Michael Larkin? Great show last week with him. You did a great job. I enjoyed it very much so.
I love
Michael. He's one of the biggest hearts in the world.
He's a digital guru.
Yes, he is.
And my buddy Fred Dunner from Sugar Land, Texas.
What's up?
Fred is a gem of a gentleman, a human being, and friend of mine to millions who shares his goodness with others in the betterment of humankind.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Charles Higgins, hey, subprime and Hispanic markets is growing so fast. Talk to us about that, the Hispanic market.
And it's a growing market, and more banks are opening up to that market, because there's a lot, I'm not going to get into the legal or illegal. I'm just going to get into the legal, the Mexican, Hispanic, the, Central American, all them that have come up this way that have now had these, now they have Social Security cards, they have all this stuff, but a lot of banks require, they get so picky about it. They want to see birth certificates. They want to see this, and they get crazy, but there's a lot more lenders that are getting, okay, stop being that way. Let's just treat them just like every other citizen, which they should be. because they're paying taxes, they're working hard, they're doing everything they're supposed to do, which blew my mind. I used to hate getting in arguments with them. Like, I remember I had one guy, not to get off subject, but this guy was from Guam. I'm like, man, that's a U.S. province, man. He doesn't even have to. That's I'm like, what are you doing here? He's a citizen. There's no need to even ask. I'm offended to even ask him for this right now. I remember talking to the bank that way, and they would not waver from it. And no matter what, I'm like, listen, I do 20 plus deals with you a month. You can't do me this favor for a U.S. citizen who serves in the U.S. Army? Are you kidding me? I'm like, but they're so black and white, and a lot of those people, they don't get trained extremely well in those situations. They only know what they've seen 99% of the time. So to them, it's so weird. They're like, no, they don't want to be the guy who makes the mistake or the gal who makes the mistake. And I get that, but you have to sometimes just talk to them like, listen, just think about it. Step back, sit back, and just really think about what I just said to you and realize that what you're doing here. But when it comes to this, there's more lenders. I'll throw one that loves Santander. They're a great lender for that. They help a lot of people all over the United States. And they're probably the strongest when it comes to subprime right now in that aspect, especially. They help everybody. You have just proof of identification and a job and all that type of stuff, and you're supposed to be here, then yeah, absolutely. There's no problem with that.
Jeff Daniels, successful subprimes think of themselves as finance/placement companies first, car dealers second. Absolutely. Mark Williamson, high stakes, lending versus subprime or secondary. Make it sound like a great weekend in Vegas instead of a last resort.
Yes. And that's what I, like when I mentioned earlier, I almost think of the word subprime or secondary finance as like a bad word because I don't really like it. It's because like I said, it's just a car deal. It's a business transaction between two people. Why do we have to call it subprime? Why do we have to demean them a little bit, make them feel less of a person? Right. So I don't really my customers don't even call me subprime. I wouldn't let them. That's just not what I talk about at work because I don't even mention that we're doing subprime. I just talk about this is the best opportunity for you right now. Right. This is the best opportunity for you. This is what the best rate I could possibly find you, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever the situation is, but it's never, well, because you're secondary or you're subprime. So that's why I don't do that. So it's kind of weird for me to get into that, and bring that up. And he's right. Just treat them like millionaires, like it's high stakes poker play, and everybody's allowed to go to this resort. What's the difference? Everybody should mingle. We're all humans, and we all deserve a good fair shake. And a good deal is when both parties, benefit, and we both benefit. I get to help move a car, and they get to change their life if they go down the program I give them set up for. So,
and like I said, it's about retention, right? You build such strong retention by helping people get into these deals that most of the other people just totally forget. We got Travis Flaherty from Facebook says, good stuff tonight. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being on the show, Travis.
Thank you. Travis, appreciate that.
Usher says subprime is very important. I worked at small used car dealer that did a lot of subprime. They sold a lot of cars. Work at major dealer. They don't want to know subprime or sales. We need more Freds.
Man, I love that. My heart's been blowing up this whole time I've been on the show. And, like I said, it's not me. It's just that it's just a mentality thing, and I do appreciate you putting in those words, but it's just that every dealership needs a subprime hero. They need somebody in there that's willing to do this. And I think that it all just starts with the owner. The owner has to be like sold. The general manager needs to make sure that it's implemented to a T, that the process is there and it's not wavered. You treat everybody the same. You just do it, and don't get a customer and literally, like I've seen subprime department. Here's what I've seen for the most part, pretty old school. And I don't know if it's like that for most people out there, but if you have one and it's weak subprime department, and here's why. Customer comes in, customer sits with the salesperson. Salesperson looks at him, great, gets the credit stuff, gets them all excited like he's getting ready to, they may even ready to test drove a car, right? Gets them all excited, goes up, gets a credit pulled by the desk guy sitting up there on the tower.
Like this.
Right. Comes back and he goes, hey, and let's say that they're going to do subprime. At this point, he says, hey, I need you to come with me. Then he takes them and sits them in an office with the salesperson who took the subprime department. And he's technically still a salesperson, though, who got now that's a half deal for him. So this person just hands it off, gets a half deal after getting this person all excited, building a rapport, showing them the car. Now he's taking him to somebody else. Now that person's gonna have to switch him. That person's gonna have to tell him your credit sucks, that you need to sit here and I'm different. This is what I do. No, that is horrible. And I've seen that a lot. And that's why most subprime departments who do anything close to that whole damn stupid process is why it fails. And if you think that's what you're doing and it works, then it's not working and it never will. It may work every once in a while because there's a lot of them out there that are very desperate, right? So they may just go with it because they just need a car, but most of them are not going to like it. Because there's still a majority of clients out there that are like we just talked about, that bubble just got bigger, that still had good taste, that still had that flavor of having that good credit that you're going to have to work with and coach them and teach them that, hey, I understand that you're not used to this, but here's how you can get yourself out of it. And, and they have to be told that because they don't know either. They're so used to I just have to pay my bills. And now they didn't do it. Now they're freaking out. What do I do? Well, you come see a Subprime Hero. It doesn't matter if it's Fred. You just go somewhere that knows what they're doing with Subprime and they will treat you good. I know a lot of great dealerships that do wonderful with Subprime, and it's awesome to see it. But I would say most of them don't. So yeah, it's a weird situation. I don't know why it's like that. I don't understand why dealers don't see that they can make more money and impact the community more, get their bottom dollar line. So then if they don't want that money, then just do it and then donate the money to something amazing,
Right.
It's because your salespeople are still going to get paid whenever you get your doc fees and all that stuff. Use that to go do whatever, donate it, do something with it. Make your community better. Go feed the homeless, go build a house for the homeless, do something. More you give, buddy.
Yeah, no, and there's a need for that too. I'm on the board of directors of the New London Community Meal Center, and we served 72,000 meals last year.
That is awesome.
So that's
so awesome.
Huge need there. We got a couple of comments here. Lou, our solutionary, says if a car has a problem, the car guy mechanic should be trusted to have the tool to help. Same on the sales side. If a customer has a credit problem, we need a Subprime Hero with the tools to help.
Yes, that's right.
And Jamil is on. I think.
What up, Jamil? What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, I worked with Joseph.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I got to meet him on the fourth box. I got to sit down and talk with him, Joseph, and Sandy, and it was a heck of a time. I had a blast. We were drinking some bourbon, and unfortunately,
Adam was there.
It was a good time.
So Jamil says, good stuff, Fred. Travis Flaherty, Dale Moore, check him out. Dale Moore. I guess we'll have to check out Dale Moore.
All right.
Terry Torline, always a great topic. The segment flew by. Rick Tamburino in the house. How are you, Rick?
What's up, Rick?
Wonderful to see everyone tonight. Awesome business conversation. Thanks for the learned content. You're welcome, man. I love this show. And Jeff Daniel, Tempro Financing. Is that a bank?
I'm thinking that are you coming up with, instead of calling it Subprime, we call it Temp Pro? I'm trying to figure out what the correlation is. Explain that some more, Jeff, if you don't mind. We'll see when it comes on. But I'd like to know what you mean by that. Is that like a program or what is that? Sounds interesting though. I'm interested.
It does sound interesting. What we didn't talk about tonight, and Ed Roberts says, good stuff. Thanks, gentlemen. What we didn't talk about, if we can just touch on it, buy here, pay here.
Okay.
How does that play into, that's a whole nother animal altogether.
It's a whole, it is. That's subprime in a sense, it's a necessary, I don't want to call it evil. It's necessary. It's definitely there for those people who even if I give them a path to purchase, they need a car tomorrow. Yeah. There's availability there. So it's there. It's just unfortunate, but there's a lot of good programs out there. The dealer I work for, he once had a buy here, pay here program. I've never personally worked buy here, pay here. So I don't know how exactly it works. I do understand that there's some levels and there's portfolios and they turn around and they flip those portfolios to other lenders and, whatever. And that's how they make it.
Is that the last resort?
It's for me, it's not my last resort. My last resort would be credit acceptance, CAC. CAC is, there's a way to sell. As long as you don't have a current repossession with them, you could pretty much, get lending. So it's basically buy here, pay here in a sense, but it's not, it's a real lender that actually reports all three major credit bureaus that will still do this. They're
not an off the books type of loan type thing.
Right. Yeah. So it's more legit. There's more, there's more government, involved. So it's not going to, there's going to be you're not going to be able to do their own interest rates. That's going to be based off the laws and all that type of stuff. So which is a benefit, so it is nice. But
Better reporting.
it's 100% my last resort. I don't use them unless I absolutely have to. No offense, CAC, I love you because you do help me out when I need it. There's no doubt, but I absolutely won't do it unless it's the last resort. But it gets hard to some cars. With the average car I purchase, it's most likely through CAC, I have to use a trade-in. I don't really, based off of their guidelines and the way they do the terms and all that type of stuff. So, and I don't really, when you're doing subprime, truthfully, trade-ins aren't the prettiest.
Right.
So,
we're talking nickel cars.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's a token number.
Dollar. I really put $1 in some cars. Like if it's a tow in, it's $1. That's all I put in it because I have to pay for the tow. I have to do this. $1. That's
so $300 for the tow.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's one of those things where buy here, pay here. I have told people to go see certain people if they really need one because they'll tell me and they're like, I just need a car today. You can't help me. I'm like, the only way I can is if you do these things. But if you really need help today, go see, Bobby at A&B Motors over here, and they can help you if you got $500 down. That's all you need. And you could just bring your pay stubs that you have here, whatever, take care, let them know I said, take care of you, and that's one of those things that you do. But that's a super last resort, but it's really not even something that, unfortunately.
There are ways before you get there.
It's rare that I have to get to that. Most of the time, if I can't help you, it's because you just don't have a job or you make less than like $1,000 a month. And I'm sorry that I laughed. I didn't mean to do that.
But at which point you can't really swing it anyway.
Right. So I wouldn't feel right selling them a vehicle. I don't care if they live with their parents. I'm like, well, you're going to eventually get a place. What are you going to do then? Right.
Then what? Yeah.
Right. Let's do other things first. And even though I do know, like you mentioned earlier, that car notes will increase credit way faster than credit cards and all this other stuff. So there is, like I said, you got to hear the story. Yeah. A lot of times there is a story. Like a lot of times somebody's living with somebody, there's a second income. It's just, we don't see it on this app because that second income is not going to be on the app, but yet it still pays the bills over here, pays the house rent and stuff. So I don't see that. So you hear the whole story first, but you, like I said, you just submit it and just, the banks will let you know, no, not enough. Or, but if you know the guidelines, you know what lenders do, certain incomes, you know, all that type of stuff. So
just like you, as a salesperson, the inventory on the lot. Somebody that's a specialist in this type of financing knows the ins and outs on the back end. And let's face it, the right conversation is the one that gets the deal through the bank first.
Yes. And
Jeff said it's instead of subprime, he says to get away from the word sub and replace it with pro, provide financing. A pro doing the deals may attract a different crowd than sub. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like it, man. I totally see where he's coming with that. And that's exactly the right mentality. Jeff, make sure you keep spreading the word like that. You keep talking about it that way. And if all of us can start doing that and all of us can really get passionate about this and really helping people and actually sitting down and listening to the story and then communicating and giving them a way to succeed eventually and being honest, truthfully, guys, being honest is 99% of it. Just don't bull crap people. Just tell them how it is. And that's so easy.
They respect that.
It's easy. You don't have to cover anything up and you don't have to worry about, them catching you on anything. And like you said, they will respect, they may not buy that moment, but they'll remember, they'll respect. We've had people refer people to us, even though they didn't buy they even bought from other stores. But because they knew the situation that their friend was in, they're like, go see, Fred or one of my guys. They say, go see them because this is what they did for me. But then, there's been times we coach customers so good they did go somewhere else and buy, but they used what we showed them what to do to go buy somewhere else. And I'm okay with that. There's plenty of business for everybody. I see how many cars drive in front of my store every single day. I don't get it. I wish I got all of them. I don't get a piece. I barely get a percentage of that. So there's plenty of business for everyone. Everyone should do good. Clients will love us more. Everyone will be happy. You can help everyone from the person who just had a bankruptcy, currently in a bankruptcy, all the way to the person who has all their bills paid and they're 900 beacon score. Help them all, treat them all, give them something to drink, shake their hand. Well, I guess we can't shake hands, but you know what I mean. Elbow bump them. And
what's funny is that, 700 is looked at differently today as 700 was looked at 6 months ago.
You're right. You are.
right? When
Yeah.
you just throw out the numbers, you might have been here at 700, but today you're here at 700. Still sounds good, but the reality is the banks have adjusted their focus as they're building up the reserves for the wall of water that's going to come down.
Yeah, that's even deeper talk right there, and that's true. And they're absolutely watching all that, and they're making sure of that. But what I can tell you, and I've been very optimistic, is that the subprime banks right now are buying like no other. They're really helping out. I've seen, and once again, and I've seen an increase in profit. I've seen, and I think, honestly, what that really boiled down to is that we've built way more value in what we do. With our vehicles, our salespeople are way more motivated. They're way more excited about helping people. So the profits have risen just because the values always exceeds cost now. And it's always very simple. It's very easy. And clients love what we do. They love our product, and they come back for more, and I absolutely appreciate everybody. And I tell them that when I sign people, that's the last thing I tell them. I said, I really appreciate you guys giving us your time today, because I know how valuable time is. And if there's anything that I could do for you in the future, please let me know. I'm Fred. I'm the finance manager here. Here's my business card. And, we're here for you. Please reach out. Don't, I always tell them, like, sometimes you'll leave here and there's something about the car you didn't like. And then you go badmouth us without giving us an opportunity to make it right. So just do me that one favor. Just call me. We are people. We love you. The way we treated you today is the way I'll treat you 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now. So give us that opportunity. And they love it. And because I mean that. That's from my heart, and it's something I say. So I say almost basically pretty much the same exact way every time, but I mean that so much. And, it's just the old way, look them in the eyes, be fair with them. Always make them feel like they're making the best decision they can make, because they are. So,
yeah. Now, somebody tagged Dale Moore before, and I see Dale Moore is on now, and he says, VIN with wheels. I'm not quite sure what he's referring to that. So, Dale, put that in the comment section, what you mean by that.
Yeah,
Steve Apicella in the house. Dealers have to navigate a very fine line between properly supporting the subprime buyer and the impact of earning an online or public reputation for charging high interest rates. It's a very, very fine line.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you're not in full control of that. You can get the deal done, but let's face it, if the bank assesses the risk and the bank says 19% or 20%, they're floating the money.
Yep.
They have the right to do that. You have several banks that you work with, so you'll work the best bank for that particular deal to get the best rate. But at the end of the day, it's the bank that assesses the risk that's put it all out there.
Absolutely. 100% of the time.
I'm a service director, but I get it. He definitely gets it. He's on my show every week. God bless that guy. Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate your support, man. Michael Larkin, Fred, the Prime Hero Leonard third. I like it.
I might have to change it tomorrow, Mike. I might do that, brother.
The first time I heard Fred Subprime Hero Leonard, I thought, you know what? I like that, because you've taken the initiative to change the game.
Yeah, exactly.
To turn that around, to take something that was perceived in one way and change it to a whole nother perception.
That's all I want to do, Paul. That's all I want to do. And I'm so glad you see it that way. And I hope, and everyone who's been here tonight, I think it's been awesome that you guys understand what I'm talking about. And just remember, one voice is only so much. So everybody has to spread out and tell people this, and everyone has to go to dealerships. If you're a vendor and you walk in, even if you have nothing to do with financing, talk about subprime if you don't mind, if you're out there, because I'll do that for you too. I mean, honestly, I believe, because I was very lucky to get onto the Fixed Op show one day. David had me come on, and I got to be a speaker. And it was like, I was honestly didn't even know I was a speaker till the moment that he said, "All right, you're on." I'm like, "What? I was a speaker? I thought I was just a guest coming to watch." And so I just, I went on. So I didn't know how well I did, I'll be honest, because they went by so quick. I was like, okay, it's over. But I remember what I talked about somewhat, and it was about how service in the back, they're sales too. They really are. And I always see a lot of like friction between the back and the front, right? And I don't think there should be that much friction between them two. There should be fun, encouraging, just like, talking about, hey, how are your numbers? What's going on? And when a dealership is humming like that, those are the ones that you see out there that are doing special things, like the Dan Cummings out there in Lexington, Kentucky, or, in Paris, Kentucky, that are just doing monster stuff in the middle of farm country. And, so you see that it's because everybody's humming together. They're all on one mission. It's to serve the customer. It's to treat people like human beings. That's all they're doing. but they're doing that. So that culture bleeds into each other inside the store. There's none of that hate. There's that love. There's that passion to make sure that, hey, I'm going to make sure my clients come see you to get their parts. I'm going to make sure my clients go back here and get their oil changes every single time, because I know it's going to benefit me just like it's going to benefit you. You know what I mean? Because you're going to tell them to come see me.
Ultimately.
Yeah. As soon as they have an issue, you're going to make sure, hey, your customer's car's having problems. You should come back and talk to them instead of trying to give them to somebody who they're going to try to get a bird dog from. Right. You know what I mean? So then that's how you build those relationships. But it all starts with you and then us just going out, because Subprime, as much as I love Subprime, I really want the culture of a store to be that way. You know, just us, everybody, it's so much more fun to be at work when you can walk into your salesperson office and they're excited for you to walk in instead of being like, why are you an office boss? What, you know, it's so much more fun to do that. They're excited when you take turns. You know, I'm a finance manager and I take turns. I go out and touch desks and love it. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's what I used to do. At heart, I'm a floor manager. At heart, I'm a closer. You know what I mean? At heart, and you know that even that word's kind of like, but at heart, I'm a people person. I'm a guy who loves to touch and talk and, you know, let people know I appreciate them for being here and I'm excited to help them anyway. You know, hey, if this guy can't help you, make sure you come get me. I'll mess with them. You know, that's the way to be, because I know as the finance manager, I'm the last person besides their salesperson when they take delivery, but I'm the last manager they're going to really talk to. Right. So I don't want them to not know who I am, especially when it's time to sell that product to them. Now they already like me. They trust me. They think I'm funny. I made them laugh 2 or 3 times. That's such key. You know, you do those things and you
build little things that are key.
Yeah. And so it's work. It's fun. It's my career. It's my life. I love this. And, you know, and I'm so excited that all that, and now I'm here on your show, Sunday Night Live, having a great time, just talking about what I love. And I appreciate you getting me on here, Paul. I really do. I love that you reached out to me, and it means so much to me when people do that, like more than you know. And it's like, because that's, you know, it's not what I'm not looking for that, but it's nice that people understand where I'm coming from and why I'm trying to do this, and being able to let me talk about it outside of what I do. You know, when I'm on my podcast, I get to talk about all I want, but being able to go onto your show because you felt what I was talking about and allowing me to just spew everything I want to talk about. Thank you, Paul. That was amazing. I mean, beautiful. And I had so much fun. I mean, I really did. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
We got a couple of comments and then we're going to wind it down. Let's see here. Great. Mark Williamson. Great show, guys. Fred, you ooze credibility. You are a true asset to our industry. I second that.
Thank you.
Ron Usher said, Fred is cool. Double thumbs emoji. And Jeff Daniel says, Mike Larkin, you're welcome. And Lou, our solutionary, says, Fred's an all-around car guy.
He's right.
So we've gone over our time, but that's okay because I own the network, so it doesn't matter.
That's right.
I want to thank you very much for coming here and sharing your knowledge. I appreciate your friendship, being part of the community. It means a lot, so I really appreciate that. I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. I would like you to, if you wouldn't mind, put your contact info, Fred, in the comment section. There may be 1 or 2 people that might have a question for you. Always think about something that you forgot to ask while you had the opportunity. It's on the internet, so it's always there. So if they have your contact info, they could always reach out to you for what they forgot to ask. Also, coffee. We support each other in our community here. So your new coffee line that came out, if you wouldn't mind, put a link to that. Might check out some of that myself. As you noticed, I had 2 cups of coffee. One of the few people that can drink coffee at night at 9:04 p.m. And then at 1 o'clock in the morning, put his head on the pillow and go straight out like rigor mortis will set in on the 3rd count.
That's me, my friend. I love it. The coffee's great. Lou is actually putting all that information out right now, so I appreciate that. It's carguycoffee.com. Pretty much everything. You can watch all my shows. You could see everything that you need, every link to anything that we do, our shirts, our swag. We have this. We have the Keep Growing shirts, the Forgive, Focus, Flies. We have our hats. We have everything, the wristbands. Everything is on there. But most important, there's so much content from amazing people, folks. I have so much stuff on there that we've had opportunity to, sit down and just learn from. And these people have been guys like El Patron, who's been went to jail for a huge mistake in the past and came out, was from another country. But he tells you how you can do something like
whole different guy now.
He's grown, and he's one of the hardest working guys I know. What you want to talk about a guy who inspires me? He makes me feel like I don't do it. I need to keep going harder, and he does. He encourages me all the time just by his posts, and that's all I'm hoping I'm doing for you guys out there, just inspiring you guys to just have fun every day and smile, and remember that even if you think it's horrible, it's not. Life is wonderful. You're alive. You woke up. You just have a pillow on. Whatever you have lights. You have breath in your lungs. You have eyes that can see. You have ears that can hear. Remember those little things, guys. Life is wonderful. We have everything we need, and we have each other. We have social media now, right? We have this network of people like Paul, Mike Larkins, Lou Ramirez, Justin Cyril, Derek Perez. I can keep going with these people, and these people are amazing, and all they want to do is help, share, and spread good news, period. And I love it, and I thank you guys so much for this and this opportunity and for this night. CarGuyCoffee.com. Check us out. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to be here for a long time. So it's going to be fun.
One other announcement. This past week, some of you may have known or may have seen.
Yes.
There's a new website that's just come out. DealerVendorMatch.com is in the first phase of deployment. So if you're a vendor, now's the time. If you're a dealer, soon will be the time. So check it out, DealerVendorMatch.com, and feel free to message me if you have any questions or want to go for a test drive. We're changing the game. It's all about changing. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Live. Let's see here. Here we go.